First off, I know that we've been kind of hard on you guys in the past when you came here, and you're talking about your commitment, especially to Native American kids, and we say we don't see that commitment in the budget. Well, we certainly feel like those concerns have at least been listened to, and whether that is a significant enough increase to deal with what we see as systemic and long-term historic issues in Indian country remains to be seen, especially given what may or may not happen in the United States Congress regarding these requests for funds. But I wanted to, I think, kind of start out with you, Kevin, and where I applaud the focus on Native American youth, and I think you know that's been a major interest and concern of mine. What do you think we can do to guarantee that if we approve this increase in funding, that the American public will actually see an improvement in the conditions for Native American children, whether it's in Indian education, whether it is in housing, whether it is in healthcare, mental health, whether it is in fact in education attainment standards? How will we be accountable for those dollars, and how do you see deploying these dollars in a most efficient way?
Well, thank you, Senator Heitkamp. That's one of the things that we are most concerned about. But keep in mind, we are not just asking for more money. We are also talking about transforming the organization of the Bureau of Indian Education. We are also talking about transforming and making more holistic our BIA services as well, so that they're all working together better. We think we need more resources for sure, but we also know that we can deploy those resources better by working together, by breaking down the silos between cabinet level agencies and in our own shop. And so one of the things that we are doing is really reforming the BIE so it works better. And Monty Russell, the director of the BIE, is here with me, and he's working hard on that so the BIE can be more effective, not just in providing services itself, but supporting the schools, the tribally controlled schools as well.
One of the points that I want to make about Indian education, and I think there can be all good intentions at the top, but if those attitudes do not filter down of respect with tribal sovereignty and with tribal self-determination, those conflicts will continue to have a direct effect on the quality of Indian education. And so just want to set that out there, Kevin, that you need to be very, very mindful of working in concert with tribal authorities and with tribal school boards, with public school boards that are working in Indian country. Before my time runs out, I do want to ask you about an issue that is very significant, obviously, in my state, and that is the status of the Spirit Lake social service intervention that's been done by BIA. Can you provide me with just a real quick update and with any kind of ideas of additional kinds of support that you would need in order to do the job that needs to be done at Spirit Lake?
Thank you, Senator Heitkamp. One of the requests that would help with Spirit Lake is our Tawahe initiative request, because we are really trying to increase social services and provide more support, really nationwide, for social services, but it would help Spirit Lake. Your staff and your office have been right on top of this, and I will tell you, we've seen a lot of improvement. It's we have fully staffed BIA social services out there, in part by hiring contractors because we couldn't always get full-time employees, but we have fully staffed them. We have a new superintendent out there who has a master's in social work, so that's a plus. We are working on co-locating the law enforcement with tribal social services and BIA social services so that they can all work together. We've been working closely with the Casey Family Foundation, so we have a public-private partnership there. And actually, we've been we've been trying to pull out all the stops and think of anything we could do. So recently, our BIA Office of Justice Services took Spirit Lake leadership, including law enforcement leadership, social services leadership, and the chairwoman herself, down to the Salt River community in Arizona, where they are running a really good family advocacy center, and showed them how it works. And so Spirit Lake has been challenging. We feel like we have done everything we can do to support them, and we will continue to do that. But we really feel like they have the pieces in place to start to improve.
Mr. Chairman, if you could just indulge me one additional question. Do you believe that every child at risk has been accounted for, is in a placement that protects that child, and that we are moving in the right direction to hopefully reunite those children back with their families?
We are cutting down on our sort of backlogs of investigations that we need to do. I don't know that there's any state in the country or any tribe in the country that meets the best practices requirement of small caseloads for each social worker, but we are doing our best, and we now have staffing there to start to meet those obligations, and we are doing the best we can.
Just one additional question for Kevin. Tribal colleges, there's really only 5 that don't have forward funding. And during the period of sequestration, this was hugely troublesome for United Tribes. Obviously, providing for a one-time payment would do the kind of catch-up that we need to do. I'm wondering what the administration can do administratively to solve the problem of these forward-funded tribes and try and or the ones that aren't forward-funded, and try and put them on equal footing with the other tribal colleges.
Thank you, Senator Heitkamp. I will look into that issue. I think that's statutory. I don't think that it's our rules. I think it's yours, in other words. So I'll be happy to look at that. But I do want you to know, you were at the State of the Union. I think I saw you on TV on the State of the Union, and the President rolled out the proposal for providing tuition for 2 years, and this is in the Department of Education budget for every student in community college and tribal college. And so there'd be a big plus up in this budget if it gets enacted for tribal colleges, many more resources becoming available. And so UTTC does a great job. They're one of the leaders of tribal colleges, and they've got good leadership themselves. And so I will look into that issue and talk about it with my staff and see if we can make a proposal to you or something like that.
I just want to make the point, as we look at building out education opportunities, the recruitment and training of a workforce that can bring that jobs development, it's critical that we make sure that we recognize the critical cultural importance of our tribal colleges, but also the workforce training implications, whether it's in healthcare, which we have great concerns all across rural America, but particularly in tribal areas, whether it's in housing and building trades. This is really a building block of infrastructure that needs to be protected. And I hope that as we talk about Indian education and we realize that early childhood, that early experience that helps brain development of young children so that they come ready to learn, they come already prepared, combined with that opportunity to transition into job training, which could in fact create real economic opportunity for jobs, is also critical. So it doesn't just stop at that K through 12. It begins much earlier and hopefully continues that commitment in education to lifelong learning that will provide education and employment opportunities for tribal members.
Amen, sister.